Welcome to the I Can podcast, where we discuss all things blindness related, including, but not limited to, technology, issues, and other topics. I hope you enjoy.
This month, we're talking Braille and Braille Literacy.
Don't forget, you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts, such as included, but not limited to, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the latest models of the Victor Reader.
Hi, I'm Brandy Kubel. CareersPLUS is designed for young adult and high school students to prepare for high school, middle school, college, and their career of choice. The goal of this podcast is to advocate and educate while fostering a sense of confidence in youth to pursue college and the careers of their choice through interactive, dynamic learning experiences.
All right, my name is Miguel.
My name is Ana Wisma.
I'm Lex Ariola.
Hi, my name is Patricia Figueroa.
My name is Lisa Lloyd.
I am Natalie Charles.
My name is Logan Barantes.
My name is Kevin Ho.
Hi, my name is Anjali. I am the music composer for this podcast.
Please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to never miss any of our uploads. Now, on to our episode.
As you may or may not know, January is National Braille Literacy Month. Recently, the folks at CareersPLUS have been having discussions about their experience with Braille, the importance of Braille literacy, technology, and reflecting on their own experience.
So I remember that I was 3 years old and I was just learning how to read Braille. And I wrote my first Braille assignment. Well, it wasn't really an assignment because it was preschool, but it was a piece of Braille. And I wrote the letter X at home because my teacher wanted me to write the letter X for some reason. So I did that. And I remember reading it back and knowing that it was the letter X, and it was really cool because I just wrote a whole page of X's by myself on an electric Brailler. And my favorite book is the Harry Potter series. It's not really a book, but it's a series. And it's because, one, it's about magic, because I love magic. And two, that was the first long series that I ever read in Braille. My aunt got me books 5, 6, and 7, and I still have them. And I got the rest from the Braille Center, which was really cool.
I like to read Dr. Seuss books. I enjoy reading because it makes me feel part of a larger community.
Sorry, I don't remember the book, but when I was able to just finish that book, it just felt great. It's like, oh wow. I mean, I wasn't as fast as I wanted to be. You never, when you're first starting off and you start learning, but it felt great. It felt great to just go through that book and in Braille, and just knowing that, hey, I could pick up a book in Braille and just sit on the couch like anybody else, instead of having a 40-pound CCTV on a desk and staring at a screen.
The first book that I completed in Braille, I was much, much younger than I am now. I think I was like 2 or 3, but it was called, well, I don't know if it was the very first book, but I remember one of the ones that I completed was Jennifer's Message, and it was just a tactile book with pictures, but it had it was double spaced, of course, but it was short, so I was able to finish it. I was happy, I guess, that I was able to finish it.
It was probably one of those that Natalie was describing, like a tactile kind of where there's Braille and pictures, but I don't know which one it was. I couldn't tell you a title. I was too little. I really liked reading Junie B. Jones as a child. I loved the series. It was so funny. I started getting it read to, and then I joined the NLS by one of my teachers, and I started reading it physically. So I really enjoyed being able to actually read it versus having it read to me, because then I was able to see, actually feel the stuff.
My favorite book is Stir It Up. It is a recipe book, my favorite recipe is a recipe for doggy treats.
One of the things that really excited me when I discovered, they call them twin vision books or print braille books. I really got excited about those, especially because I'm a parent. Because my daughter, when she was younger, I didn't know that these were out here, and she would ask me all the time, "Hey, Dad, can you read me this book?" I had to tell her no. Mom was working at the time, and I was home with her, so I was a stay-at-home dad as well for a little bit. So it was hard to tell her, I can't. I'm sorry, and she didn't understand. She's only 2-3 years old. She doesn't understand. So when I discovered the twin vision books, print braille books, I got really excited. Now I have some at home. I have like Goodnight Moon, which is a popular one. I read to my kids, and just the different books that are available through the Sacramento Braille and Talking Book Library. I would get books from there. So I could read that to my kids, Dr. Seuss, and all these different books. And so that's something that I really enjoy, because then my kids can follow along, and I can read it to them. They can see the pictures, and I can read them the braille. From one of my classes, I did a project where I decided to create a twin vision book. So we had to transcribe something. So I chose to transcribe a book, and I created my own twin vision book. So I made the labels. There's like these clear labels you get through APH, and you can put them in your braille writer, type on them, cut them out, or you can use other labels and then stick them onto the book. And my wife and kids helped me with it, and so I was able to create my own twin vision book. Now I can read that book to my kids as well.
September 1994, I was 23 years old at the Orientation Center for the Blind library. I can still remember the smell. And it was the Velveteen Rabbit. And I was sitting on the floor of the third row of bookshelves. And I read the Velveteen Rabbit from front to back. And I felt like I had just climbed Mount Everest. And it was just the Velveteen Rabbit, but it doesn't matter because I finished it. And my Braille teacher, I said, "Can we do this in the library? Because I like the way the library smells." And I read it out loud to him, and he had tears in his eyes, because I had started learning Braille literally in 1993. And it was almost the end of 95. So it took me 2 years just to learn grade 1 Braille.
I can you?
Logan Barantes is a college student studying computer programming at Gavilan College, who happens to be visually impaired and is hoping to get into the field of video game development with an emphasis on accessibility.
Braille is a wonderful system that has helped blind and visually impaired people all around the world read. But have you ever wondered where it came from? Braille is a system of 1 to 6 dot cells that can be combined to form a variety of letters, numbers, or other special characters, which comes from Paris, France, around 1824. Its inventor, Louis Braille, who was blinded by an awl at the age of 3, came up with the system while attending school at the National Institute for Blind Youth in Paris. After learning of a similar system referred to as night writing, developed by a man named Charles Barbier, in which an individual could use their finger to read. However, it offered its own challenges as it used a 12-dot system with 6x6 cells, meaning it was much harder to read with just your fingertip. But Louis was inspired and began experimenting with the system until at the age of 15, Louis Braille had found a system that worked. However, the system was slow to be adopted. While many other students enjoyed this new system, it took longer for it to be officially accepted. The standard system of reading at the time was embossed letters that, while better than nothing, was difficult to use en masse. Louis Braille's instructor was even let go when he presented the history in France in Braille instead of the standard embossed system. Later in his life, Louis Braille himself became an instructor at the Institute for Blind Youth, where he taught this system. It wasn't until 1854, 2 years after Louis Braille's death, that his former school adopted the system. It wasn't adapted to English until 1932, when representatives from Great Britain and the United States met to set up a common system, doing so again in 1957 to do the same with grade 2. a version of Braille that shortens words to save room on a page. Braille is an amazing system, and hopefully I was able to help you learn something new.
I can you?
Natalie Charles is a recent graduate of California School for the Blind, CSB, at Newark Memorial High School. She is an active member of the American Printing House for the Blind, APH, CareerConnect Student Advisory Committee. And she recently wrote a blog called My Braille Journey, which was featured on the APH CareerConnect website. Natalie also mentors and tutors students in their learning of Braille. Her dream is to increase the percentage of students who are proficient in Braille.
According to an article by Sonia Sharp of the Los Angeles Times, most blind kids can't read Braille. The Perkins Brailler made its debut in 1951, in the middle of a, quote, blindness epidemic caused by oxygen therapy for premature infants forced the rapid integration of visually disabled students into American classrooms. Today, fewer than 10% of visually disabled Americans can write and read tactile script. Up until the Braille Challenge, kids simply were not getting enough access to technology for Braille. Right now, with all the Braille technology that is available, it is easier than ever for a kid to access Braille. In 1972, the Supreme Court extended the protections of Brown versus the Board of Education, the landmark school's integration to disabled students. In 1975, the Education for All Handicapped Children Act, now called the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, gave disabled students the right to learn in public schools. Visually disabilities are also rare compared to other disabilities like autism. Braille, by contrast, is mandated for all visually disabled students, except where such instruction is inappropriate. Yet, today, only 16% of students who can learn Braille do. Your Braille literacy skills put you one step closer down your path to employment. Fewer than 10% of the 1.3 million people who are legally blind in the U.S. are Braille readers. Furthermore, a mere 10% of blind children are learning it. Each year, as many as 75,000 people lose all or part of their vision. I also wrote a blog, which was featured on the APH CareerConnect website, and it talks about my Braille journey and how I had a gradual start to learning Braille at a young age. It is also about my journey through life while continuing to learn Braille, and about how I now mentor other kids with their learning of Braille. I like doing it, and I hope to help more kids with learning it. I really prefer reading hard copy. However, the National Library Service lends out these Braille displays that are 20 cells, and you could read books on them that you download from any website that you get books for the blind, such as NLS Bard or Bookshare.
I can you?
Miguel Vanegas works for the Stockton Unified School District as a Braille transcriber. He also assists an internet TVI, teacher of the visually impaired. Miguel is pursuing his master's in special education and a TVI credential at SFSU. Miguel has retinitis pigmentosa, also known as RP.
So just to share a little bit about myself. So I'm married. My wife is sighted. I have 3 biological kids. They're all sighted as well. My daughter does have glasses, though. She has amblyopia in the left eye. Amblyopia is also known as like a wandering eye or lazy eye. So I grew up with some vision. I started really losing my vision when I was in junior high. And that's when I started learning Braille. So I started learning Braille probably about 7th or 8th grade. At the time, they had diagnosed my brother and I have a twin brother who has the exact same condition as I do. And we're actually mirror twins. So I was born left-handed. He was born right-handed, but I'm right-handed because of just the Mexican culture. Left-handed is bad luck, I guess. So I was told my uncle would give me chile if I used my right hand, my left hand when I was little. But yeah, so I'm a little ambidextrous though. so I can use my left hand for something. But yeah, so we were diagnosed, I would say around 12 years old, I think, with macular degeneration and RP. And then I was later diagnosed with just RP, but it's RPE2, which is more of, they say rod cone dystrophy, but it's more of the cones, so it affects like the details and color. And I also have cataracts that set in several years ago. But yeah, so I started learning Braille all throughout high school, Braille, technology, O&M. I was getting all that. Of course, I didn't want to use my cane in high school, trying to hide it. But, I still had I still have pretty thick glasses though. Yeah, I was mainstreamed, and the TBI from my county would come in, I think 2 to 3 times a week. And yeah, and something that was really cool that happened, because I was really into sports growing up. I studied martial arts. I liked baseball a lot, and football, hockey, you name it. I just enjoyed sports. But I was bummed out when I started high school, because that's when my vision really started to decline, and I couldn't join the sports that I wanted to. They're like, oh, well, you can swim or do wrestling. And well, I didn't really like swimming. But a cool thing was that I earned my letter for a Letterman's jacket. You know how they have Letterman jackets, and you know that mostly the athletes wear those, and they put like the letter on there. I actually earned mine in academics, so I got my letter for academics. And then after high school, I went to the Davidson Center in LA, now known as the Wayfinder Center in LA. And then the residential center in LA, that was really fun. That's when I really started using my cane out in public, because everybody just busted out their canes, and I was like, oh, they don't care that people know that they have a white cane. So it was really cool to get, to start developing those relationships with those individuals that were, they were a little older than I was. Just those adults that I can talk to. And I was there for about 5-6 months, because I already had done a lot of Braille and technology and O&M throughout high school. And then I started college after that. And I was using Zoom Text. It was probably like Zoom Text 2.0 at that time. I don't know. It was a while back. But I was using Zoom Text and CCTVs and, all the different technology. I didn't really use Braille that much at that time, because I still was using the magnification. I mean, I wish I would have kept up with my Braille, because if you don't use it for a while, that saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. But then I got back into it later on when I was looking for work, and I got hired with the school district. So I was kind of like doing Braille for a while, and then not doing it, and then coming back to it. Once I started working with the school district, I earned my certificate in UEB, a certificate in the Nemeth code. I took whatever courses I could take to learn, all about Braille and formatting and just the various things, and then learning about tactile graphics and how to create those and the different types of software that are out there. So it's just a great tool to have. It's so important. And I took the NFB course. I'm not quite finished yet. As you guys know, I started the graduate program at SFSU last year. This will be my 4th semester now. So I'm pursuing my master's and TBI credential. So the NFB program, it's certification. It's through the National Library of Congress, so you're certified nationwide. It's through correspondence. They'll send you things in the mail, and of course my stuff was all in Braille, so the books were like, all these different books, because there's a ton of lessons you have to do. On average, it takes about 2.5 years to complete that, just because you're sending your stuff and then they send it back, and you have to make any corrections. And then so now I work as a transcriber for the Stockton School District. I've been there. This is my 7th school year. I started in 2016, and it's been great. It's been great just with all the kids, and just getting that experience with different children. The TBI that I work with, he's very proactive. He went from a caseload when I first started with him, I think about 25, which is still quite a bit. It's still quite high, to about 60, because he's constantly child finding. Whenever he walks into a room, he automatically looks at kids' eyes. I jumped on the NFB. I actually moved up to Manteca, which is just south of Stockton, in 2010, just a little bit after I got married. I moved up here. And then how I got into the NFB was through Beat Baseball. I found out that there was a blind baseball team, and I was like, it'd be really fun to go and start getting into some sports and playing. And so I went out to a practice, and oh my gosh, I couldn't tell you how good it felt to hit a ball again. This last year for San Joaquin County, I was elected the vice president of the chapter. So I'm the vice president of the San Joaquin chapter. And then I also got involved with other chapters. So I'm also part of the at-large Latino chapter. So it primarily focuses on Spanish speakers or bilingual. So as you can tell, I like to be involved. I like to connect with others and be a part of all sorts of different things. Just like with you guys, when I joined you guys in 2020 in March, I joined you guys and never looked back because I just saw how great this program was for our youth, because it's something I never had growing up, junior high, high school, college. And I just had to connect everybody and anybody that I knew with you guys.
If you would like more information, please visit the CareersPLUS page at societyfortheblind.org. You can also email us at icanpod@societyfortheblind.org. That's EYECANPOD @societyfortheblind.org.
Thank you for listening. Bye-bye, everybody.